Thank God He's Gone by The Vegan Teacher.
Somebody who isn't vegan consumes approximately 100 animals per year. The Pope died when he was 88. How many deaths is he responsible for? Now that he's dead, is the world a better place? The Pope was a disgrace to Jesus, God, all true Christians, and any other religious or non-religious people in the world. He's in hell right now because he promoted the use of animal-based foods.
And that's what I'm talking about. And that right there is what I'm talking about. That right there is what I'm talking about. Listen to what I'm about to say very carefully. She just said that all religious and non-religious people, he let all of them down. And he's also burning in hell because he let people eat regular animal meat. He let people eat regular food, sorry. This is ridiculous.
I need everybody to stop eating eggs because baby chicks are ground up alive at just 1 day old. He should have made them watch the documentary Dominion.
The egg industry is just a cycle of misery. They lie to you endlessly. Don't buy eggs, walk away. Go to egg-truth.com today.
No, I'm not going to watch the full video.
The Pope was a terrible example of manhood. Good men protect animals. They don't pay people to rape, kidnap, torture, enslave, and commodify them for a 5-minute meal. The Pope is in hell right now.
Okay. First off, we're not enslaving them. Like, stuff like chickens, bro. Chickens, like, they don't live outside of, like, they're made for it to become a food source. Like, a food source, I mean. There is nothing, they don't provide value to any ecosystem. Like, we're gonna eat chicken, bro. Like, we mass produce them to eat them. They are born to die. There's no other purpose for them. We're not mass producing them so that we can send them off to some forest or whatever Great Plains land for them to live. We are producing them so we can eat them. They live so they can to provide us energy. Okay, so it's not enslavement. That's what they were born for. We had them born for that reason. Second, most animals, I don't even know if I can say this on YouTube, but most animal mating doesn't really look like mating. Like, they don't have the same thought process we have behind most things, actually, because they're animals. So you saying that it's, doesn't really apply because that's something that it's a human conception. It's nothing else.
Because he blessed the use of animals for food or to be treated as slaves. He should have spoken out against places like SeaWorld and circuses and zoos. He should have spoken out against bullfighting and the rodeo, but he remained silent while billions of animals suffered.
He's not in America. Am I tripping?
Spoken out against bullfighting and the rodeo, but
he's not in America. Those all sounded like American things. What did you want him to do?
He remained silent while billions of animals suffered needlessly under his watch. The Pope has blessed farm animals like chickens, cows, and sheep, not as individuals deserving liberation, but often in the context of agriculture or food production.
That is what they are. They are animals. That is literally what they are. They're not people. That's her problem. They're not people. They don't conceptualize things like we do. They're at the bottom of the food chain. You're trying to put them at the top. And you're trying to put them on par with us, and they're not. They're made to be eaten. They're made to be eaten.
Animals are not objects to be bought and sold. They are individuals. They are sentient beings who have a right to live and not to die begging for their lives.
Begging for their lives? Vegan teacher, let's be fucking serious. When was the last time you had a burger? Probably a long time. You're about 92 years old. So, I want you to think back to the last time you had animal meat. was the cow still mooing? No. It wasn't begging for its life when it was being turned into what it was. You know, it wasn't begging for its life. It wasn't begging to live. It can't beg to live.
The students and staff here at That Vegan Teacher School are not woke. However, we acknowledge that the Pope, having been consistently a man over these years, is no longer okay. The next Pope should be a vegan woman.
No.
The Pope is a cow.
No. Okay, this is going to sound crazy. No, because it is literally against their religion. It is literally against their policies. That cannot happen.
Cowardly man who refused to do the right thing, despite having a lot of power to do so. He could have easily encouraged the entire world to strive towards being as vegan as possible and led by example. But this is not what he did. Instead, he endorsed animal sacrifice symbolism. Catholic rituals, even under his leadership, often included symbolism tied to animal sacrifice, example, the Lamb of God, without any explicit critique of animal exploitation. This was shameful, completely disgraceful on his part.
What do you
mean? The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has clearly stated that being vegan is helpful for all stages of development, including brand new babies, teenagers, adults, older people, pregnant women, and nursing women.
I doubt it.
It is also extremely inexpensive.
I highly doubt that.
And would help to end so much poverty in this world. So many people, animals, and the planet overall would benefit.
Poverty? How is everyone becoming vegan gonna solve poverty? Poverty is one of those things that is gonna always exist. There will never be a time where you can just extinguish poverty. You can only lessen the effect. You can't actually completely get rid of it. So she's yapping.
So why did he fail to do it? Because he's a coward.
Almost tweeted.
The Pope should have been braver.
I gotta control it.
But instead, he is in hell right now because he refused to use the power that he had for good in this world. He failed to advocate for veganism, for the innocent victims desperately suffering in an animal holocaust right now, when it would have been a win for everyone. The animals, the planet, and all of humanity. Despite his strong ecological encyclical Laudato Si', which criticized the human abuse of nature, the Pope never publicly endorsed veganism or called for reducing meat consumption on ethics.
Why would he? Why would he? He wouldn't. You're not even explaining why he would do this. Why would he openly say, why would he openly endorse the concept of not consuming any more meat? Why?
Ethical grounds. His focus was more on sustainability and stewardship, often avoiding the moral discussion around animal rights, which was an imperative discussion to have.
I'm sure he had more important discussions than eating animals, than stopping the consumption of animals. I'm sure. I'm positive of it, actually. I'm positive he had more things on his plate than thinking about... No pun intended. I'm sure he had more things on his plate.
Not only did the Pope fail to address all of the sexual abuse that goes on within the Catholic Church, he also never spoke out against what's happening to females right now. Female cows are forcibly tied up.
Look how she baited us. Look how she baited us. In my head, I was thinking, dang, I just reacted to that. She was talking about females in the Catholic Church. Bro, she's talking about cows. Bro, she said females. I'm thinking she's talking about another human. She said cows. She thinks she's a cow. This is...
And impregnated, against their will, without consent. Their babies are stolen from them and murdered. Because if they are boys, they are considered to be useless because they will never grow up to be able to produce milk. The dairy industry is a cycle of misery, and the Pope should have spoken out against it and told people to drink plant-based milks from now on.
A cycle of misery. If you're a male cow, you're gonna grow up and they're gonna feed you well. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna eat you. You would have died either way. You're gonna die no matter what. You get to live your life. You get free food that you don't have to hunt for. You probably won't ever experience starvation because we want to give you good nutrients so that we can eat you. If you're a female and you are a female cow and we need you for milk, we're going to give you good nutrients so that we can have good milk. So they're living good lives and they're dying no matter what. So their energy is going to go back to us. Why not recycle the energy? You're not making any sense.
But that's not what he did.
The dairy industry is just a cycle of misery. They lie to you endlessly. Don't buy milk or cheese, walk away. Go to dairy-truth.com today.
The Pope is in hell right now because he was cruel to cows.
Like,
wore
do you
leather.
not feel like that sounds insane? Like, your reasoning behind it, do you not feel like anything from saying that? You don't have any emotion towards that? Like, just saying that the Pope's in hell because he didn't save animals?
Their shoes and other leather things, which was unacceptable. The Pope wearing leather is wrong because it directly supports the cruel exploitation of cows and other animals in the leather industry. Leather is not just a byproduct of the meat industry, as many believe. It is a co-product, meaning animals are specifically raised and killed, not just for their flesh, but also for their skin. Cows and
Why
dairy
wouldn't they be? If the primary reason we were using them is for a food source, why waste everything else? If we can use it, why? Then there'd be even more reason. I feel like this is counterproductive to your argument because you're saying that co-product of us using them for their flesh. So if we don't use their skin, it's even worse. But if we do use their skin, it's still bad. Like, come on, you're not even being reasonable. You're just like,
and suffering in factory farms and slaughterhouses where they're confined, mutilated, and ultimately killed for products like leather. Moreover, wearing leather sends the message that it is acceptable to use animals as commodities, which contradicts the values of compassion and stewardship that spiritual leaders, including the Pope, should embody. By choosing plant-based or synthetic alternatives, the Pope could have set a powerful example of mercy and kindness, aligning his actions with the principles of caring for God's creation. Supporting ethical and cruelty-free choices is not just a personal decision, it's a moral.
how do you feel about people? I want to know how you feel about people. It sounds to me that you hold animals to the same, if not higher level than people, and they're not. And I'm not the most biblical person, right? I'm not. I've read the Bible a couple of times. I'm sure I remember somewhere in there he says that animals are not even on the same level as people. But don't quote me on that. But yeah,
that resonates with the broader call to protect all beings from harm. The Pope was offered $1 million to stop abusing animals. He refused it. Meanwhile, young children everywhere are choosing veganism out of the goodness of their heart, with zero compensation.
Time to change your religion like you change your underwear.
I don't remember the last vegan kid I met.
Religion.
Just saying.
Show God that you really care. Change your religion. Wanna try something new? Use your critical thinking skills to question all you eat, drink, buy, think, say, and do. Woo-hoo. Time to change your religion if it tells you to.
Why is this song lasting so
Change
long?
your religion if it has a strange or crazy rule.
Next.
Change your religion. Wanna be an atheist every Sunday? What's important no matter what is that you don't listen to what all
Oh wait,
the meat.
I just peeped. This video means nothing to me as I don't believe in hell or heaven. And she just sings a song. Okay.
People say so. Change your religion like you change your underwear. Change your religion. Show God that you really care. Change your religion. Wanna try something new? Use your critical thinking skills to question all you eat, drink, buy, think, say, and do. Woo-hoo. Sing this song
It's still going.
and be vegan from now.
The Pope is in hell right now because he was offered $1 million to become vegan, and he refused it. It was deeply disappointing that
He's the Pope. He's the Pope. I'm sure $1 million doesn't mean anything to him to go vegan. $1 million to go vegan means nothing to him. He's the Pope. He's probably wanted. That's probably was his aspiration, was to become the Pope. So why, for $1 million he go vegan, and it offers him no value at all. I'm sure he doesn't even have to, I'm sure he doesn't even prepare his own food. I'm sure his food is prepared for him. And he doesn't even have, money doesn't even mean anything to him.
That Pope Francis declined the $1 million vegan campaign's offer to go vegan for Lent in exchange for $1 million donation to a charity of his choice. This decision was problematic for...
Wait, it wasn't even $1 million to his bank. It wasn't even to the bank, to the back end. It wasn't. She just said $1 million to go vegan, but the $1 million goes to a charity. I'm not trying to be that guy, but if you offered me $1 million to go vegan, and you say, wait, but you have to donate it to a charity of your choice, though, that's what we mean. I'm eating bacon that day.
Several reasons. Number one, he missed an opportunity to align his actions with his teachings. Number two, he neglected the suffering of the animals. Number three, he undermined the efforts to combat world hunger. Because animal agriculture is an inefficient system that consumes vast resources, contributing to global hunger. For instance, feeding crops to animals instead of directly to humans is wasteful and exacerbates food scarcity.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to let her finish her
By
point.
promoting a plant-based diet, the Pope could have highlighted a more sustainable and equitable approach to feeding the world's population. So not only did the Pope not give a shit about suffering animals, he also didn't give a shit about suffering children.
It's like she goes from point A and doesn't go to B, doesn't go to C, doesn't even make it to the letter D. She jumps from A all the way to XYZ. Okay, so she's saying that because the crops aren't directly going to people, he's starving animals and children. Let me tell you why that's correct and why I know you know that it's not correct. In class, we learned that the consumption of energy the consumption of energy from plants to people is a lot less. We get a lot less energy from plants than animals do. Animals that consume plants get more energy from those plants. It's still not the most amount of energy ever, but protein, meat, gives you the most energy. They aren't able to eat that. Their body can't digest that. They have to eat a lot of plants, but it's giving them more energy than it would if we just ate the plant. That's why we eat the meat. That's why the system works. And even with that being said, no matter what, there's going to be starving animals and starving children. It does not matter. That point was stupid.
Jesus is vegan now, and God is too. If you want to get to heaven, you better be vegan too. Fuck milk, cheese, eggs,
Is that not you're guilt tripping? You're saying you're not going to go into heaven unless you go vegan.
eat tofu and vegan food to eat. God wants us to be kind to the animals, or it's true, you risk getting roasted on the devil's barbecue.
Number four is he failed to inspire global change. As the leader of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide, Pope Francis held significant influence. His participation in the campaign could have inspired millions to consider the ethical, environmental, and health benefits of a vegan lifestyle, fostering a global movement towards more compassion and sustainable living. But he didn't give a shit. But you do. So be better than the Pope.
But guilt tripping children into believing that if they aren't vegan and will go to hell if they're not is fine. Okay.
And press the notification bell.
I won't.
To assure your place in heaven and not in hell.
I won't.
I know you see that button right there. Go ahead and like and subscribe. And tune in for more.